Dead by Daylight has so many perks. For the average player, it's really hard to know what every single perk does and what perks synergize really well. So you end up just tossing something together and seeing if it works. Well, in this video, I have 4 perk builds that I guarantee will help you dominate solo queue. These builds are for different aspects of the game, and you could choose which one is best for you. So let's get into it. The first build I want to talk about is an all-arounder build. Now this build's pretty good for almost anything in the game. This build will consist of windows of opportunity. What this does is it shows windows and pallets within a 32-meter range, allowing you to know where to go next. Life, this gives you 150% movement speed when vaulting a window or pallet for 3 seconds. Resilience, this perk is really good because it gives you 9% additional speed when you're repairing, sabotaging, healing, unhooking, vaulting, cleansing, and opening exit gates while you're injured. And inner strength, where if you cleanse the totem, you could heal a full health state just by getting into a locker for 8 seconds. Also, for an item, I'd recommend a map to show you where the gens and totems around the map are. The reason these perks synergize so well is because the second the killer finds you, you could run to the window closest to you. Play around it as much as you can and vault the window, getting the 150% movement speed. If you get hit at all while you're trying to loop the killer, you get the 9% vaulting speed from resilience. This should give you enough distance to make it to the next loop comfortably. So this build effectively shows you the safe places near you, allows you to heal without a teammate, allows you to get distance on the killer, and can allow you to do gens 9% faster if you're injured. And the second build I want to talk about is the I just want to do gens and not really interact with the killer build. And this build consists of Overzealous, which is after cleansing a totem, this perk activates. It increases your gen repair speed by 10%, and it's doubled if you cleanse or bless a hex totem. Inner Strength, we already know what this perk does. Deja Vu, this shows you where the 3 gen is on the map, the 3 generators that are super close together, or the closest together. You gain 6% repair speed on the revealed generators. And then Resilience, we already know what this perk does. And then as far as items go, the Engineer's Toolbox is best for repairing gens. You could bring a brand new part if you want, but if you don't want to hit the brand new part skill check, you could always bring the Wire Spool and increase the charges, and then you can increase the toolbox repair speed by 30% with the socket swivels. This build synergizes really well because when you cleanse a totem, you get Overzealous value and you get Inner Healing or Inner Strength value. On top of having the 10% bonus speed from Overzealous, maybe 20% if you cleanse a hex totem, you also get the 6% from Deja Vu, and you get to see where the 3 gen is on the map, the 3 generators closest together. Now, something that's really cool about this perk build is Overzealous deactivates when you lose a health state by any means. This means that if you cleanse a totem while you're already injured, you get the 10% from Overzealous, you get the 6% repair speed on revealed generators from Deja Vu, and you get the 9% from Resilience, which means you're getting a minimum of 25% increased gen speed from these 3 perks. So regardless of what your health state is, you're always getting generator speed value from this build. On top of that, you could heal without a teammate and can comfortably deal with the killer in the rare scenario that he finds you. Build number 3. This build's incredibly important after a day of not so good games. I like to call this build the Please Stop Tunneling Me build, which consists of Off the Record. What this perk does is once you've been taken off the hook, you get basically borrowed time for 80 seconds. As long as Off the Record is active, your aura will not be shown to the killer and you have no grunts of pain. Decisive Strike, after being unhooked by any means, this perk will activate for 60 seconds. For that whole minute, if you get grabbed by the killer at all, a skill check will pop up, and if you hit this skill check, it'll stun the killer for 3 seconds. Dead Hard, which is really good if you're able to time it. And after you've been unhooked, while you're injured, if you tap the E button while you are running, you will gain the endurance status effect for 0.5 seconds, and then made for this. After you finish healing another survivor, gain endurance status effect for 10 seconds. While affected by deep wound, you run 3% faster. The reason this build synergizes is because Off the Record and Dead Hard put you in the deep wound status effect if you get hit while they're active, meaning that you'll get made for this value. If you don't get hit while they're active, then you should have enough time to get distance away from the hook and stop being tunneled. And if they're still chasing you after hitting you with Off the Record and Dead Hard and made for this isn't getting you enough distance, you could always jump in a locker and force Decisive Strike. All 4 of these perks are really strong for stopping tunneling, and usually is enough to deter the killer and have them leave you alone, at least after being hooked. And the last build that I'll be talking about for this video is the Now You See Me, Now You Don't build. This build's really good for getting away from the killer as fast as possible and making it so they can't really find you afterwards. This build consists of Quick and Quiet. Whenever you vault or hide in lockers, you make no noise at all. Lithe, we already heard about this perk earlier. Dance with me, when performing a fast vault or leaving a locker in a sprint, you leave no scratch marks for 3 seconds. And lightweight, your running is light and soft, making your tracks harder to follow. Scratch marks stay visible for 5 seconds less than normal, and their spacing is inconsistent. This build synergizes really well because killers normally are able to find survivors based on scratch marks. What you want to do is play around the loop as best as possible, try to get out of line of sight of the killer and vault. The second you vault, Quick and Quiet will activate and so will Lithe. Quick and Quiet makes it to where the killer cannot hear the vault, and Lithe will give you the increased movement speed. Dance with Me leaves no scratch marks after you vault, and Lightweight makes it so after Dance with Me is done, the scratch marks will disappear pretty quickly, so they won't be able to find you at all. By the time they know you're gone and are looking for where you went, all your scratch marks will be gone and you'll be comfortably healing somewhere else. If you made it this far in the video, make sure to like and subscribe because I do plan on making more educational content for new and intermediate players. And leave a comment as to what builds you were using before this. And thanks so much for watching.